You can tie your pheasant tails on any hook that you like, wet fly or a grub hook like this one, and you can choose a heavy wire and a light wire depending on how deep you want the fly to fish. If it's barbed, I recommend that you just flatten the barb like that before you tie the fly. Just put the hook back in a normal position. To attach the copper wire to the hook, I put the copper wire right down in the neck of the eye. I push the tag end forward a little bit to make sure that I actually lock over it with my very first turn of wire, and then I continue up, and once you have 3 or 4 turns in, it should be secure. Lift up the tag end to the top side of the hook and then continue down in touching turns until you've covered about half of the hook shank. Bend and break off the tag end and then continue down in touching turns to about that point. Now come to your pheasant tail. Take off about 5 or 6 fibers. You don't have to count them. Maybe I just have a bit too many there. Take out 3. Make sure that the end of the fibers are relatively aligned. Offer them up to the hook shank. Come over with a pigeon loop and secure them carefully to the top side of the shank. Don't use too much force here because the ends are really brittle. Come over with an extra turn just to hold, and now leave the wire here at the hook bend. Now carefully wind the pheasant tail fibers over the abdomen in the opposite way that you're winding the tying wire. Continue up to where you want the abdomen to end, and now as you rip the fly with your tying wire, you also secure the pheasant tail to the hook shank with each turn of wire. Once you've reached the end, tie down the tag end with 3 or 4 turns of wire. Now if you want a heavy fly, you can put on a layer or 2 of copper wire. If you don't, just leave it as it is. Take off another bunch of pheasant tail fibers, which are going to form the thorax and the thorax cover. With the wire, secure them to the top of the hook shank. Come back with the wire to where your abdomen ends, and then cut off the waist ends. Come forward with the wire again, letting it hang at the very neck of the hook eye. Now carefully wind the pheasant tail over the thorax. 2 or 3 turns is usually enough. As you reach the end, catch in the pheasant tail fibers at the top of the hook shank like that with a single turn. Now come back with your copper wire to the very end of the thorax like that. Fold back these pheasant tail fibers, catch them in with a single turn. Make sure that everything is sitting correctly, and it is. Now come forward again with a single turn across the thorax. Before I complete this turn, I fold forward the pheasant tail fibers once more, catching them in with a single turn of wire. Make sure that everything is sitting correctly. put on one more turn for security, and now cut off the waist. Since I'm tying on a grub hook with the hook eye pointing downwards a little bit, I like to leave the hook hanging in a horizontal position to avoid the wire slipping off. Instead of tying a knot, I simply put a little bit of super glue on the wire and do an extra 2 or 3 turns like that. Now simply pinch off the wire and you're done. There it is. Frank Sawyer's iconic Pheasant Tail Nymph. Thanks for watching.